insights to our stakeholders and members of the public on our activities over the preceding quarter. Today's briefing seeks to fulfill our commitments under my leadership to open governance, as it serves as an opportunity to make public our achievements, our challenges, and strategic direction in a very comprehensive manner. The objective is to offer transparency, accountability, and insight into our operations. We recognize the importance of your role as media representatives in disseminating accurate information to the public, and so we appreciate your presence today. Let me therefore begin with the overall performance overview and those key drivers of our performance in the first quarter. Let's start with the revenue. In the first quarter, NCS demonstrated remarkable performance in revenue collection. Total revenue collected during this period amounted to 1 trillion naira, 347 billion, 675 million, 608,972.75 kobo. The collection for the first quarter represents a substantial increase of 122.35% when we compare it to the same period last year, where we collected a total of 606 billion, 119 million, 935,146 naira. When we do a month-by-month analysis, it further illustrates our impressive growth trajectory. In January 2024, revenue collection surged by 95.6% when we compare it to what we recorded in January 2023. This upward trend continues until March, and we are going to give you the real figures at the end of this briefing. Now, when we relate this to federal government's annual revenue target of 5.07 trillion for the NCS in 2024, the target translates to a monthly revenue target of 423 billion. We are pleased to report an average monthly revenue growth by 6.2% over the set monthly target, and a cumulative revenue collection of 18.6% equivalent to 78 billion 675 million 608,972.75 over and above the target of 1.2 trillion for the first quarter. On the second mandate of suppression of smuggling, we recorded a total of 572 seizures encompassing various items valued at 10 billion 593 million 99,654 kobo in duty paid value. Notably, the month of January witnessed 111 seizures amounting to 842.9 billion naira, while February marked the highest seizure numbers of 432 with a DPV of 3.7 billion naira. As usual, rice constituted about 40% of the seizures, followed by petroleum products at 25%, with motor vehicles and textile accounting for 9% and 6% of the seizures, respectively. During this same period, customs detained 22 suspects, and appropriate legal measures are being taken in accordance with the Nigerian Customs Service Act 2023. The third major plank of our mandate in the first quarter is trade facilitation. Trade facilitation remains a central focus of our operations in the first quarter. Despite all the inherent challenges, we have diligently worked towards streamlining processes, minimizing bottlenecks, and optimizing efficiency across our ports to ensure seamless trade transactions. In the first quarter, customs processed a total of 311,492 single goods declarations for imports, which reflects the volume of import transactions handled. This figure, however, indicates a decrease compared to the total volume of 327,491 processed during the same period in 2023 and 403,233 processed in 2022. One of the ways in which we measure our efficiency in trade facilitation is the number of export transactions that we process. During this period, a total of 10,706 single goods declarations were processed in 2024 when we compared it to 9,752 transactions in 2023. This represents a 10.6% growth in exports activities. Notably, a significant portion of this growth occurred in January, with 4,067 transactions processed in 2024 when we compared it to 3,352 in 2023, which marks 29.69% increase. We are particularly interested in the growth of the non-oil export sector, aligning with the priorities of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's led administration and the initiative pursued by customs in recent times. Now let's talk about the key drivers of this performance in the first quarter. A myriad of deliberate factors have contributed to the successes around our key performance indicators. It is important to acknowledge the dedication and efforts of officers and men of the Nigeria Customs Service who have worked tirelessly and diligently to ensure consistent and upward momentum. Officers have played a key role in driving the implementation of the initiatives as evidenced by our performance across the three core statutory responsibilities set by government. Amongst these initiatives is the introduction of e-auction, which has generated a total revenue of 1.6 billion for the period of February and March 2024. Furthermore, stakeholders from both private and public sectors have played a significant role in our recorded successes. Their commitments and enthusiasm towards our objectives have been very commendable, especially in adhering to the terms of the various MOUs during our bilateral engagements and larger forums like the National Trade Facilitation Committee. Additionally, significant commitments were documented at the last CG conference, notably enshrined in the Lagos Continental Declaration document, which highlights our collective efforts and collaborations towards our shared goals. It is imperative to highlight the ongoing support of the government, particularly in approving initiatives aimed at fulfilling the mandates of customs. Amongst these is the granting of a 90-day window to owners of uncustoms vehicles smuggled into Nigeria, facilitating the payment of appropriate duties on those vehicles into Nigeria. Members of the public are strongly advised to avail themselves of this opportunity to regularize their papers, as customs will embark on a very serious operations at the expiration of the window period to arrest vehicles that have questionable papers. Additionally, government's decision to reopen the northern borders with Niger Republic holds significant importance. This action is expected to boost trading activities along those corridors. With potential smugglers now reconsidering the legitimacy of trading through approved routes, this decision stands as a pivotal move. We are unequivocally committed to supporting the actualization of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President. This commitment is demonstrated through both direct and indirect contributions to key areas such as economic growth, improved security, upholding the rule of law, and fighting corruption. Noteworthy achievements include strengthening economic growth through optimal revenue collections to support government allocations to vital sectors, alongside the implementation of efficient trade facilitation measures. Our relentless enforcement officers, particularly those targeted at intercepting prohibited items, are important in enhancing national security. Moreover, we are steadfastly integrating technology across our operations to ensure transparency and accountability, addressing critical aspects of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President. Recently, NCS has prioritized food security in response to a presidential directive. This initiative is evidenced by the distribution of food items to vulnerable members of the society, commencing in Lagos and Kano and extending to other parts of the country to address very urgent societal needs. We reassure the public that transparency and accountability will remain paramount under my leadership, fostering trust and confidence in the service. In all of this, we are grappling with a number of challenges, and I'm going to share some with you. During the quarter, we encountered several systemic challenges that impeded our ability to fulfill our responsibility effectively. These challenges encompassed issues related to non-compliance with regulations, infrastructure limitations, and a notable decline in cargo throughput, evidenced by a 4.89 decrease in the volume of transactions handled during this period. In addition to this, significant fluctuations in exchange rates applied in the customs clearance of consignments posed considerable difficulties to our operations. As per our protocol, the exchange rates utilized by customs in the clearance of goods via the Nigerian Integrated Customs Information System, NICIS, is based on the rates as determined by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And in the last quarter, from January to March 2024, a total of 28 rates were directed by CBN, ranging from 951.94 per US dollar in January 2024 to a peak of 1,662.35 per dollar in February 2024. While a singular exchange rate of 951.9 was maintained in January, February witnessed 15 different spot rates ranging from 951.9 to 1.662 per dollar. In March, we witnessed a total of 13 different spot rates ranging from 1.303.84 to 1.630.16. These fluctuations resulted in an average applied exchange rate of 1,314.0 per dollar in the clearance of goods during the entire quarter. The repercussions of these fluctuations have sent concerning signals to our stakeholders and it affected very seriously. In fact, you might say it disrupted our activities. Beyond the speculation regarding potential gains that it may have on our revenue, the implications on the transaction volumes are significant and they far outweigh any possible benefits. These concerns are already manifesting in current activities with the potential for lagged effects in the coming months. Mindful of these implications on the trading public and the overall economy, the Nigeria Customs Service, with the support of the Honorable Minister of Finance, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, has initiated periodic consultations with the Central Bank of Nigeria to mitigate the potential impact of exchange rate fluctuations on import activities. The relative stability in the past few days can be attributed to the interventions of the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Governor of Central Bank. Furthermore, we encountered a couple of non-operational challenges stemming from some deliberate attempts by certain malicious actors to undermine the reputation of the service. It is crucial to underscore that we remain resolute in addressing genuine, evidence-based observations as we have consistently done in the past. Constructive criticisms channeled through appropriate means are always welcomed by the service as they keep us vigilant in fulfilling our commitments to our crucial responsibilities entrusted to us. Despite these challenges, we are steadfast in prioritizing transparency and accountability in all our operations, reaffirming our dedication to serving with integrity and excellence. Additionally, I must draw our attention to some recent attacks on our officers and the relevant provisions of the Nigeria Customs Service Act. Section 239 specifically imposes penalties for armed or bodily assault of an officer, including those threats or any form of aggression. Recently, we've read in the papers that some elements are planning to attack our offices. We want to assure them that conviction for this kind of offense can result in imprisonment for up to 10 years. I urge members of the public to conduct their business with officers in a cordial and mutually respectful manner. Officers have also been cautioned to uphold to the highest level professionalism and restraint in their interactions. As we look ahead, we are actively implementing various measures to address those challenges we have enumerated. One notable initiative amongst them is the integration of technology alongside utilization of satellite imagery and artificial intelligence tools and techniques. These efforts were initiated upon assumption of office to combat the long-standing issue of smuggling and enhance enforcement capacity for effective monitoring of our extensive borders. Additionally, this initiative will establish a command and control center to monitor activities along our borders comprehensively. Earlier this year, we launched an extensive time-release study with significant participation from Federal Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, as well as Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. This study aims to identify bottlenecks in the clearance systems to enable the implementation of measures that will promote transparency and timely clearance of goods in our ports. We reaffirm our dedication to publishing the reports to foster transparency and address the current challenges hindering trade facilitation. We recently concluded a stakeholder engagement marking a critical steps towards achieving the Authorized Economic Operator Program set to be launched in the middle of April. This initiative, endorsed by the World Customs Organization, recognizes businesses involved in international trade that demonstrate strong compliance with customs regulations and security standards. Participants in this program will stand to benefit from expedited customs clearance processes, reduced inspections, priority treatments, and enhanced predictability in customs procedures. The presence of 7 beneficiaries, including importers, exporters, logistics companies, customs brokers, and SMEs at the pilot launch underscores the program's significance and stakeholders' commitment to advancing trade facilitation efforts in Nigeria. We are currently finalizing measures to implement advanced rulings set to take effect in the coming months. This mechanism would empower traders to seek clarity and certainty regarding the classification, origin, valuation of goods, even before their importation into the country. Essentially, advanced ruling provides a binding decision from customs on specific aspects of a proposed import transaction, offering traders predictability and consistency in customs procedures. Obtaining advanced clarity on customs matters enables business to plan their import activities more effectively. It helps them to minimize the risk of non-compliance, and it also guarantees smoother customs clearance processes. In addition, we are perfecting arrangements with the Central Bank of Nigeria to take measures to stabilize exchange rates for import declarations, further enhancing predictability and facilitation of trade. We are gearing up to launch the Nigerian Customs Analytical Laboratory, a critical measure set to take effect in the second and third quarter. The Customs Analytical Laboratory is a specialized facility equipped with advanced analytical instruments and techniques for scientific analysis of goods and material. Its primary objective is to promote compliance with customs regulations by providing accurate and reliable testing and analysis of imported and exported goods. The laboratory will conduct various tests to determine the authenticity, the composition, quality, and safety of goods, including testing for chemical composition, product integrity, and adherence to regulatory standards. Leveraging is expected to enhance our capacity to detect and prevent smuggling, counterfeit goods, and other illicit activities, thereby safeguarding public health. Additionally, it will facilitate trade by expediting the clearance process for compliant traders and promoting confidence in the integrity of customs systems. On the export front, we have initiated discussions with the leadership of Nigerian Export Promotion Council in the first quarter to explore avenues for sustaining the positive growth in export transactions. A dedicated technical committee has been established to address specific areas of concern to enhance export facilitations. This measures aligns with the President's agenda to promote exports trade, diversify the economy, and generate foreign exchange from non-oil exports trade. Furthermore, it aims to prepare Nigeria for the commencement of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement on 30th of April through the guided trade initiatives that will be launched in Lagos. We are committed to fulfilling our obligations to ensure the success of these initiatives and contribute to our development and integration into the global markets. We are cognizant of the challenges faced by members of the public, particularly regarding verification of customs documents. In response, we have initiated measures to provide accessible application gateways for the public to verify relevant customs documents, such as duty payments on vehicles at their convenience. This initiative aims to eradicate fraudulent activities and prevent exploitation by intermediaries or rent seekers in these areas. Through the provisions of convenient and reliable verification channels, our goal is to enhance transparency, empower stakeholders, and foster trust in our processes. Our commitment is to consistently improve our services and meet the needs of the public. By the grace of God, the app to do this would be launched in the second quarter of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important to highlight that the reforms discussed are part of the President's ongoing efforts to enhance port operations. A recent development in this regard is the determined effort by the President to introduce a single window system spearheaded by the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy. The Minister is already leading the charge for the introduction of a single window by the second or the third quarter of 2024, and we expect the inauguration of the steering committee for this project any moment from now. In closing, I want to extend heartfelt gratitude to our dedicated officers for their commitment and tireless efforts in advancing the mission of customs. Their dedication is instrumental in driving the success of our initiatives and ensuring the security and prosperity of our nation. As we move forward, I call upon all Nigerians to continue offering their support and cooperation as we strive to fulfill our mandates of trade facilitation, enhancing national security, and upholding the rule of law. We have the capacity to surmount obstacles and realize our shared objectives for a brighter future. In essence, our briefings today underscored our persistent efforts to strengthen border enforcement, streamline trade, and foster economic advancement. As we look ahead with optimism, I remain assured that customs will maintain its exemplary performance, playing a pivotal role in our nation's progress. I'm grateful for your attention. I thank you for coming. Export duty is zero rated. Most parts of the world, Nigeria is not an exception. So when we export goods, we do not collect any any duty on them. However, when we import, depending on where the import is coming from, there could be duty depending on the goods. But you want to recollect that Niger belongs to the same preferential trade area with Nigeria. Well, we still believe that we are in ECOWAS, as we have not received any official communication from ECOWAS headquarters suggesting that we should suspend the preferential trade concession that we give to goods coming from ECOWAS. So imports traded under those kind of regimes through the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme is also traded at 0% rate of duty. But however, we measure some other indicators like the volume of exports, for example, the volume of import, for example, have the potential to bring prosperity to the neighboring area, places, the border areas, the border community. It provides employment for them, and it also adds to our GDP. So we are not measuring those numbers in terms of revenue, but there are a number of other multiplier effects that this value will bring to our economy. And you will also see the clamor from Nigerians, particularly those who live around those border communities, that we needed to review the closure of our borders with Niger, which the government magnanimously did a couple of months ago. In terms of the laboratory, you set up laboratory for investigations, and your investigations could be targeted at so many reasons. What NAFDAC looks for in their laboratory might not be the same as what Nigeria Customs looks for. Like I explained, we want to determine the chemical compositions of these goods so that we'll see to their HS classification to ensure that they conform with regulatory standards, to ensure that they comply with health and safety standards, and all of that. So, according to our mandates, we look for a number of things that are not necessarily the same. But let me say this. We also believe in collaboration. When we don't have the laboratory, we still refer some of our things, some of our items that have where there are some gray areas. We still refer it to them, not just NAFDAC, academic laboratories, universities, laboratories belonging to universities. But we have taken our lessons from all of this, and we have visited other customs administrations, and our decision is that we need an analytical laboratory. And the process of doing it will be for us to have some regional ones first, in the port areas in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, possibly in Kano, and then we have a central analytic laboratory here in Abuja. I didn't really get the questions regarding electronic, the update on the electronic whatever. If it is about tracking, our preoccupation as a customs administration is to track goods that are within our territory, depending on the customs regime and customs procedures under which they are imported. If they are imported in transit into the country, so while they are transiting through our customs territory, we need to track them. If they are moving from a border port to a dry port, it means they are customs goods. We still need to track them. So those are the ones that we are doing. It is a priority. I have not given you an update on them because I don't have anything concrete to report. We are working, and I believe that by the time we come back for the next quarter briefing, I will report progress that we've had. Thank you. O is trying to say that the rising figure from customs is due to rising tax. Let me disabuse your mind that the reports that you read in February were not accurate. Like I explained, nothing has happened to our rate of duty. The rate of duty has remained the same. If you like, you might say that our tax base has remained the same. So if you're talking about the basic tax base, we're talking about the cost, the insurance, and freight. Customs has not done anything to review that. But in the course of my presentation, I expressed concerns which has been expressed by our stakeholders regarding the fluctuations in the exchange rates. As it affects our stakeholders, it's also affecting us because we need some kind of predictability. We need some kind of planning. So when we have data that we can analyze and we can build our future projections, it helps. But when we have rates that are going up and down like yo-yo figures, it does not help anybody. And I have also expressed my concerns about that. And this was why we, as a responsive customs organization, initiated the consultation midwife by the Minister of Finance with the central bank governor. And what we have done has helped to stabilize the rates that we use for customs duty. We must give credit to the authorities of central bank. We must give credit to the president for the number of policy measures they've put in place to arrest, the rates, to bring it down and stabilized it in the last few months. And we can only hope that as these measures consolidates, we are still going to witness further reduction in this rate, and it's going to make life a little bit easier for importers and those that are involved in port business. So let me reiterate once again that we have not in any way done anything to adjust our rates. The rates for clearance of vehicles still remain the same. On the flip side, what we have benefited from in the first quarter, we are not going to see it in the second quarter, and we are not going to take anybody to court for that. So, but the law gives the CBN the authority over such monetary issues, including the determination of the rates that will be applied for customs duty payments. So we are monitoring the situation, unlike in the previous regime where CBN was lulled into themselves, where CBN was untouchable, where nobody can talk to them. In this particular dispensation, when there are issues of common concern, we call them and we sit down together, we look at the issues, and we come up with solutions. And I'm happy that these solutions are working, and we can only hope that they will continue to force downward the rates, the exchange rates that we use. The final one was not a question, so I'm not going to answer it. It's an advice, and I can assure you that I stand by my promise. We had some disruptions in the first quarters, which actually affected our concentration. But I want to assure you that we still stand by that commitment, and very, very soon you are going to be hearing from us. Thank you.